back. This is BoomerLife on CL 650.
Welcome to BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we're speaking with JimeDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services. And we're asking you this question. Are you where you want to be financially? A well-thought-out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for yourself and for your family. And today, Jim is speaking to the benefit of taking the time to review your financial plan and communicate your wishes with your advisor. Get your pen and paper handy or turn up the volume if you're driving in the car. We're going to address some very key and very important ways to make your partnership with your financial advisor thrive. So Jim, for many couples, good communication on money issues and family finances remain challenging, but it can also be difficult with their advisors. So you're here to suggest that there's a couple of things that we can do that might start to make this process a lot easier.
You know, Joanne, in families, there's some things that just never get talked about, generation after generation. It's compounded, and I think we all can agree with this, when you don't know what you don't know. Embarrassment can creep in as we get older and perhaps more successful, and we're still unknowledgeable in certain areas of our lives.
Well, I can't disagree with that. It is really hard to admit. I don't understand. I don't get that. I don't get it when it comes to being in control of someone like me who is a control freak, or you're managing your elements of your day-to-day lives, like finances. If you don't get it, you just don't get it.
There's a false notion upheld that success in one area of life translates to success in all areas of life. And this false sense of expectation can create barriers when communicating needs, wants, expectations, and wishes, whether you're speaking to personal relationships or professional relationships.
Oh, Jim, it's so true. So when it comes to advisor-client communication, how can we break this pattern?
One thing I've learned after 26 years working as a financial planner, as an advisor, talk to the client about the client and take yourself out of the picture altogether until you have an understanding of what the needs, wants, expectations, and wishes of the client are.
Well, that's a good point. Take you out of the equation. It's not about you, it's about them. I think people just want to be heard, and then they want to be understood.
When I speak with clients who are coming on board in my practice, they often share stories of how the advisor they've been working with communicate with them from their own vantage point, instead of seeing things from their perspective and hearing the story being told.
Well, I hear this, and I think maybe it's natural for advisors to try and impress upon their clients that they're looking after their best interests, but do you have a sense that talking about their products, their credentials, or their track record misses the mark when it comes to adding the value to the relationship?
I think it might. Almost everyone I've ever worked with has their own story, and they've been shaped by their own unique experiences. So what am I saying? In order to hear your story, your advisor may need to back burner their expertise and experience. And it's crucial to your success that your advisor hear what you're saying.
After working beside you for this past year, Jim, I definitely understand how important it is that our advisors understand both our financial objectives and our personal and life goals. The conversations do get personal. They absolutely have to.
And it's important to hear the things that are not being said. When relationships are new, people may not be comfortable sharing their full story. It takes time to build a comfortable rapport, to allow an environment that supports confidences and sharing money secrets. Also, great listening doesn't come with judgment.
I think this is where you come in as well, and you're good at, you're a great listener, and you're also good at reading between the lines. And there's a saying here, I've actually never heard it, but I came across it the other day. You only have one mouth, but you have two ears. Make sure you use them in that ratio.
Sounds like great advice to me. I'd like to make sure that everyone understands that the ultimate goal of your advisor should be to seek clarity before offering suggestions or making recommendations. There's a term I heard when I was taking the Family Enterprise Advisor program from the UBC Sauder School of Business. The term was premature presentation. offering suggestions before you heard the whole story. That phrase really stuck with me.
So what I've heard so far is it's essential to listen attentively and seek clarity to build confidence when establishing a partnership.
If your financial planning is approached as a partnership, then you can start by being clear that you have a role in achieving your objectives, with responsibilities to ensure that the partnership is successful. I do believe that financial planning can be a lot easier for most people if they're willing to worry less by planning more.
Oh, that's great. Plan more and worry less.
You ever spoken to a house painter? They'll tell you the better job they do prepping for the painting, the better the result.
Giving clients a role in achieving their objectives along with establishing their responsibilities seems a tangible way to help put the ball back in the client's court. It's like building confidence.
We want to encourage you to ask questions, to be open about whether we're meeting your objectives or your expectations. If we have clearly articulated our role in the partnership and explained how investment decisions are made, how often we will meet to review your portfolio, how frequently we will communicate, then I think that we have an opportunity at a good working partnership.
Well, Jim, I sense that by giving clients a say in this partnership, you're really helping to foster trust and loyalty. The help of your advisory team truly is essential for keeping you on track.
Often, my role is to act as a sort of quarterback to the team, keeping the team energized and motivated.
Now, Jim, I've heard that some people see their annual financial review, it's kind of like spring cleaning. It's a chore, and you just sort of need to dust it off once a year.
Yeah. The experience we get, the feedback that we get from new clients, especially when we're talking about the reviews, is that they're a different experience than what they're used to.
Well, there's no doubt that the quality of the client review might be something that doesn't get a lot of media attention. Well, maybe it should. Tell us a little bit about your client review.
Before we agree to take a meeting, we establish a mutually agreed agenda of what we're going to cover when we get together. That doesn't mean it can't evolve when we meet, but this is where we start. At the start of our meeting, I'd like to have a quick overview of the last meeting to see if there are any outstanding items or if any updates are required that have left over from the last meeting before we get into this one.
Well, an agenda sounds like a great place to start for any meeting.
Question I want to ask sometimes. When you leave a review with your advisor, do you feel energized and inspired or dazed and confused? Think about it. Once you're in the car on the way home from the meeting, have you already forgotten about the meeting, having moved on to discussing, say, what's for dinner tonight?
Do you really want me to answer that? I'd say dazed and confused. It sounds really familiar.
We follow up by sending a copy of the meeting notes from our last meeting, asking if this is a complete summary of the meeting that they were at, and if we missed anything that needed to be added to the notes. Our meeting agenda sheet also has a segment including a list of actionable items for ourselves and the client as a result of the discovery meetings that we just had.
Well, this is absolutely a great way to keep on track. I mean, there's no way one person, like myself, could actually remember everything we talked about last year, who was supposed to do what or when or why. It's too much information.
It's not uncommon people can't remember what we talked about or who needed to do what. This reinforces our responsibility as your advisor, as well as your role in ensuring that this partnership works well. It's nice to have a history of our meetings, so that if we need to go back and review something from, say, several meetings ago, it's quick and easy to find.
When clients enjoy their review meetings, I'm sure good things happen from that.
One thing we do is we ask both partners to attend the review. Just because one spouse is engaged doesn't mean that the other is. I think a lot of clients are being underserved on this matter. I want to make sure we have both partners involved and engaged.
Well, Jim, it's one of the things I really appreciate on how you approach your client relationships is that you sit with your whole team connects with the clients to help build that trust.
By knowing you and your family well, I'm here to reassure you that you shouldn't feel embarrassed to ask questions. By understanding your history and your motivations, we can talk more clearly about your expectations. By following a well-thought-out process and being clear about your role and responsibilities, as well as our role and responsibilities, our partnership can thrive.
It all comes down to having that conversation and great communication skills. We've given you a number of reasons today to call Jim Doyle. Just going to drop his number on you one more time right here, 604-682-5431. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. And Jim, is there anything that you want to share with us today? Any special tips to leave us with?
Giving structure to your goals and tying specific plans to those goals makes it easier to accomplish your financial dreams. Be clear about your role and responsibilities when working with your financial advisor if you want to see the maximum benefits from your partnership. If you're not where you want to be financially, are you working towards clearly defined goals? If not, it could be a good time to call me.
Here we go. Here's his number, 604-682-5431.
And remember the 3 T's.
Oh, yes.
Time to do the research and anticipate the tax consequences. Technique, knowing what you're doing with knowledge. And temperament, emotional control.
Thanks, Jim. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today, we have been speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. A lot is made about all the wonderful things that we can do in retirement, but for many Canadians, the dream just doesn't live up to the reality. Maybe it's time to change that. Make a plan, a financial plan, and you can start it all with a call to Jim Doyle, 604-682-5431, or you can email him at jim.doyle@investorsgroup.com. Remember, retirement is not a number. Thanks for joining us today on Boomer Life on CL 650.